So Chris Haynes is reporting that the Pelicans are trading CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk and a future second round pick to the Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the 40th pick in the draft. And I think the Pelicans got over on the Wizards. I really do. And now the motivation for both teams is this. For the Wizards, we'll start there. It's just salary dump, basically. Or it's basically to be able to have set cap space next offseason. They're looking at it as Jordan Poole. If you look at here, he has, we'll make it so you're able to see. Hold up. He has 2 years left on his deal, where you can see right here, 25, 26. Next season, he'll be getting paid 31 million, almost 32. And the following year, he'll be getting paid 34 million. Whereas CJ McCollum is just a little over 30 million next year, and then his salary's done. And so for the Wizards, they're seeing it as they want to be able to spend money next offseason. And this year, they're fine with having CJ McCollum, with Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart, and saying, all right, well, we'll pay these veterans now. Maybe at the trade deadline, we'll be able to make some moves. And so, again, I'm reacting to this in real time. I could see that being a positive move for the Wizards. They'll have cap space galore next year. This will be a developmental year with veterans there to help the guys along the way. And then if they get a deal that they like for Chris Middleton and or a CJ McCollum and or a Marcus Smart this offseason or at the trade deadline, they can do that. And they were able to do that while getting an asset back in a future second-round pick. They're basically swapping second-round picks. They threw in Sadiq Bey, but at this point with the injuries, and Sadiq Bey is not that young anymore, Sadiq Bey is not really worth that much. And so at first, I really didn't like it for the Pelicans, for the Wizards, but looking at it a little bit more, I understand it. But for the Pelicans, I will say I'm higher on Jordan Poole. I think, at least the Wizards seem to be, and probably the NBA consensus seems to be, because I like Jordan Poole a lot. I like him a lot more than CJ McCollum. I know the motivation isn't player-wise for the Wizards. It's more contract salary-wise. But I've talked about how guys like Anthony Simons, Tyler Heroes, these guys that are like scorers, but they're string beans and they don't really defend and they're not really, they're sloppy with the ball. They're not great like point guards or anything like that. These guys aren't really worth much in today's NBA because teams don't really they want 5 guys that can defend and they want to play team basketball, and just bucket getters that are guards. They're not really as valued anymore because there's just a lot of people that are very talented at scoring. And so I understand that. But I will say, I think Jordan Poole, I would honestly, Tyler Hero, we already showed the contracts. I don't need to do that again. But Tyler Hero, he's better than Jordan Poole numbers-wise last year. He was an all-star and all that. But I kind of like Jordan Poole, the way he fits on a championship-type team, better than those guys. We've obviously already seen him win a championship, but I do think that there is a team-changing skill that he has that a lot of these other guys, Anthony Simons, Tyler Hero, don't have. And that is, when he wants to, he is elite at getting to the rim. His way of breaking down a defense when he puts his mind to it and he doesn't settle for bad shots, he is much better than the other guys that I'm mentioning, even like a Jalen Green. I think he's just much better at just blowing by defenders and getting to the rim and helping the defense collapse. And so I think there still is an elite skill there. He still is a really good shooter. It just comes down to good coaching and, making sure that he's reined in. 2 seasons ago was really rough for him for the Wizards. But last year was a lot better, and we saw a lot of good moments. And so for the Wizards, I like this move personally, especially if they are planning on trading guys like Trey Murphy or Herb Jones, which I don't love trading Trey Murphy at all unless you get a massive return. But if you're getting cheaper and getting off Herb Jones' contract for picks or something like that, then I understand this, being willing to take on a 2-year deal for a guy that is still young and you could see being a part of a contender moving forward. And overall for the Pelicans, I think they have, over the years since Griffin got there, have made good moves. They've drafted in a very good way. I think a lot of it's just been injury disasters for them. And so, that's just what it's going to come down to. Every year, all their guys get hurt. If they could stop that from happening, they make a lot of good moves out there. Trading away Dyson Daniels turned out to be probably a disaster for them, but they still have a lot to work with as of right now. We'll see what they turn it into. But as of today, right now, you're sitting there with Jordan Poole, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Zion Williamson, and there's other pieces there too. That's not bad at all. That's something that could give you a chance in the West if you were healthy to like really make noise. The problem is you can't rely on them to be healthy, so you got to worry about them as an organization in terms of where they're going right now. Overall, I like this for the Pelicans, though, because next offseason, I'm sure if they wanted to move off Jordan Poole, they could and be able to do it even easier than they were able to move off CJ McCollum. So you can add another asset next offseason. For the Wizards, I kind of like it because it gives them a clean slate next offseason. But at the same time, I feel like you could have just held on to Jordan Poole and traded him next offseason and actually got a little bit of a better return. But you would have had to take on a salary. So thinking through live, I think this is a win-win for both teams. And I don't know, maybe I'm being too kind because the first two big moves, at least since the Desmond Bane trade, I've said win-win, which I'm usually not a win-win guy. Didn't think that for the Kevin Durant trade or Desmond Bane. Usually I feel like one team gets over on the other, but I like this for both sides. Let me know what you all think, though. Drop a comment, hit that like, and subscribe, please. I'm building a new channel. Help me out.